I'm Sam Rossi.
And I'm AJ Carey.
Join us every Wednesday as we summarize and discuss true crime on Killing 15 Minutes.
That's right, 15 minutes or less on some sick puppies, serial killers, and criminals. Every Wednesday.
I write it, AJ reads it. Available on all major audio platforms.
And please follow us on all major social media outlets as well.
Hi friends, welcome to Season 5 of The Activity Continues, a paranormal podcast. I'm Amy, the producer and host of this show, along with Megan and the other Amy. We are three soul friends who love to talk about the Dead Files TV show, along with other spooky and spooky adjacent things.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan, our resident scaredy cat. I love this stuff, but it absolutely terrifies me.
It doesn't terrify me.
Me neither.
Most of the time. Hey everyone, I'm the other Amy, sometimes referred to as Amy, ABP, or AP, and I'm the voice of reason in the chaos, trying to keep these two spooky, goofy, lovely ladies in line. We're creating a community of like-minded friends who love to discuss all things paranormal. Come join us, where
the activity continues.
Welcome to Candlelit Stories, a new podcast brought to you by Pen Epic Productions, producers of Haunted Escapes with Chris and Diane. In this podcast, we will take you on journeys into strange worlds. You will meet many different characters and join them in their stories. This podcast will be made up of short stories. Many will be new and original works. Some will be old classics, and we hope all of them will be enjoyed. My name is Jim Hubmaster, and I will be your guide. So please sit back, relax, and let's begin. The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. Never explain anything.
Those are the words of H.P. Lovecraft. Hi, this is Chris Turner, one of the writers for Candlelit Stories. Tonight, our first story is called The Book. Take it away, Jim.
Welcome to episode 2 of Candlelit Stories. In today's episode, we will be taking a journey into the unknown. In a universe so large and endless, there are things that we cannot explain. These things fuel our imaginations. But what if the truth is beyond what you can imagine? Today, we will be reading 2 stories. These tales will show that perhaps certain things are better left unknown. It started when my uncle died. He had been something of a collector and had traveled all over the world looking for rare things. We had been close. I moved into his old house. It had been left to me in his will along with his possessions. I had been living there a few weeks when I found the book. It was a thick, old book, and the cover felt like worn leather. The paper was stained yellow, and a strange smell emanated from it. I should have disposed of it immediately. However, there was a strange magnetism to it, so I began reading. The book drew me in. It was full of strange and terrible tales. Pictures of towering creatures, ripped right out of the darkest dreams. The more I read, the stranger things became. It started small, odd feelings of being watched. I didn't think much of them. Things slowly began to escalate. The strange feelings grew in strength. Soon I began hearing sounds. They were low, as if coming from far away. They were mainly voices muffled and speaking a strange language. I would strain to hear them, but could never clearly understand. I saw a psychiatrist, and he prescribed me some pills. They seemed to work for a while. I also stopped reading the strange old book. Things seemed to return to normal. However, this peace wouldn't last. A few months passed, and then the dreams started. Honestly, they were more nightmares than dreams. I would find myself in a strange place. My surroundings were very barren and rocky. It always seemed to be nighttime. Strange planets and stars hung in the sky. I would see creatures, darker than the night. Some looked like strange hounds. Others were large bat-like creatures with smooth, blank faces and large wings. These dreams seemed so real. My doctors just gave me more meds that didn't work. Soon I started seeing the creatures from my dreams in the world. They would appear as shadows in my peripheral vision. They seemed to always vanish whenever I tried to focus on them. The strange dreams and visions drew me back to that accursed book. Days turned to weeks, which then turned to months. I was obsessed. The book had so much knowledge. It spoke about gods from the far reaches of space and the cults that served them. It told tales of other dimensions and ways to cross into them. There were spells and rituals that supposedly could summon and or banish these gods. It was amazing. I began to become interested in the strange dream world too. Using certain enchantments, I was able to move around that plane. I delved deeper and deeper into the book until something happened which shook me to the core. I had two brothers who came to stay with me. They were worried about how odd I was becoming, so they wanted to keep an eye on me. After a month or two of them living with me, I decided to show them my book. I regret it now, but at the time, I was obsessed. I showed them some of the things I had been learning. They both disapproved of it. They tried to get me to stop, however, I thought nothing bad could happen. How wrong was I? After one night of arguing with my siblings, I proceeded to lock myself away in my study. I had decided I was going to try a spell that would allow me to see into the future. When I told my brothers, they were against it. They told me how nothing good would come from it. I just saw them as weak-minded fools. I finished, yet it seemed as though nothing happened. I was angry, and so I stopped reading the book. However, that's when I began being stalked by someone or something. This went on for a few weeks. Whenever I was out, I would feel as though I was being followed. I told my brothers, and together we decided to stay vigilant and armed. Things continued to escalate. Then it all came to a head one night in late March. We had been sitting home watching television and relaxing when a strange sensation came over the house. A tingling moved up and down our arms. We tried ignoring it, however it got worse as the night went on. It was around midnight when we saw it. A dark shadow moved outside. Its silhouette moved from the front window to the front door. At first, I thought it may be a visitor. However, I soon realized it was not. I motioned for one of my brothers to go upstairs and bring down some of my uncle's weapons. He had quite a few rifles and other firearms in his possession. As we stood in silence, the figure continued to pass from one spot to another. I had the strange feeling it was trying to find a way in. We readied our weapons, preparing ourselves for the worst. The thing outside was making strange noises as it moved. The sounds were unlike anything we have ever heard. A strange clicking and splurging noise came from it. After a while, it seemed to shamble away. We started to relax, and then the thing began slamming into the door. It was making shrill, shrieking sounds, followed by the clicks and slurping. We aimed, and after a few moments, the door broke inward. We began unloading our weapons into the creature. It squealed in pain, but kept trying to get in. I called for my one brother. He aimed the shotgun, then yelled for us to move, and with a blast of flame, the double barrels emptied into the thing at my doorstep. It screamed, an almost a human-like voice that sounded oddly familiar. My brother reloaded, fired again, the buckshot slamming into the creature. With another scream, it limped away, and we followed spurned on by our impending victory. The creature crashed through the bushes around our yard and scrambled to escape us. However, it was hurt. It fell down, and I moved in for the kill. Up until this moment, none of us had actually really had a good look at it. That changed as I moved towards it. The streetlight shone down and made it clear to see. I looked, and as my heart felt like it stopped, the figure was some sort of animal-human-looking hybrid. It was like something out of a nightmare. It had a body of a man, however, it had looked like tentacles coming from its back. Each one seemed to have what looked like razor-sharp teeth growing out of them. It gurgled and spat, its appearance causing my mind to break. The thing was oozing slime and blood. I watched as the streetlight slowly showed me its face. A gasp escaped my lips. I knew this face. I had seen it every day of my life. The blue eyes, the slightly hooked nose, the thin lips, all of it. I knew who this creature was, or at least whom it had been. As the realization hit me, my world began to spin, and soon I felt myself falling. Darkness embraced me, and I was in the dreamlands. The strange voices explained what had happened. The next thing I remembered, I was in my house and my brothers were all over me. They looked as bad as I felt. They asked me what that thing had been. Shaking my head in a voice full of disbelief, I told them that thing was the answer to the spell I had done to see my future. That thing was me. Knowing too much can influence us in many ways. Sometimes we can change the outcome. However, there are many times that we can't, no matter how much we know. Take the author who wanted to know the future. What he saw was something he'll never be able to unsee. That creature was something he may become. Will he be able to change his fate? Or perhaps it's too late.
I hope you enjoyed that tale. Our final story for tonight is called The Drowned One.
The crumbling harbor of Dragon's Point had ever been a place of shunned solitude, whispered warnings, and a pervading sense of wrongness. Here the sea held a different color, a sickly green that seemed to writhe and pulsate beneath the waning moonlight. Nathaniel, a man of scholarly pursuits and a thirst for the forbidden, arrived here, drawn by a cryptic journal entry. The entry, penned by his late great-grandfather, spoke of hidden caverns beneath the town, a place where knowledge slumbered, guarded by a monstrous entity known only as the Drowned One. Nathaniel, fueled by a morbid curiosity and a touch of madness, ventured into the night, the damp, fetid air clinging to him like a shroud. The cavern mouth, half submerged by the ever-encroaching tide, gaped like a maw. Nathaniel, with a heart that hammered a frantic tattoo against his ribs, pressed on. The putrid air grew thicker, and an unnatural silence pressed down upon him. Then, a sound. A deep, booming voice that echoed through the cavern, sent shivers down his spine. Nathaniel stumbled upon a sight that defied sanity. A colossal, vaguely humanoid form laid sprawled on an altar of dripping black stone. Its skin, the color of brine, was mottled with luminescent growths, and its eyes, two burning orbs of unholy green, snapped open, fixed upon Nathaniel with maddening intensity. In that moment, Nathaniel's sanity frayed at the edges. The forbidden knowledge he craved turned to a suffocating dread as he realized the true horror of the Drowned One. With a strangled cry, he turned to flee, but the cavern entrance had vanished, replaced by a churning green wall of something that defied description. The Drowned One's voice boomed again, filling the cavern with a maddening chorus of slicks and whistles. As it lumbered towards Nathaniel, its form shifting and warping in ways that shouldn't be possible, Nathaniel's mind gave way, shattering under the weight of the monstrosity before him. They say that curiosity killed the cat, and Nathaniel's love of exploration saw to his demise. Perhaps sometimes it's better to rely on one's imagination and self-preservation than journey out into the unknown.
I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, please leave us a like, subscribe, and follow us. Candlelit Stories is a production of Pen Epic Productions. Today's story was written by Chris Turner and read by me, Jim Hubmaster. The artwork and editing was done by Diane Turner, and music was composed by Michael Fetzik. You can reach us at penepicproductions.wixsite.com/haunted. There we have stories from all of our other podcasts, as well as a link to merchandise on our social media platform. You can leave us a message or submit stories of your own to our email, penepicproductions@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. This has been Jim Hubmaster, and I hope you'll join us again next time on Candlelit Stories. Until then, keep a candle burning.
If you like paranormal, true crime, and some cryptids, or just anything weird, check out Ouch, Was That a Ghost? Brought to you by your host, Liz. You can find Ouch, Was That a Ghost on Spotify, Apple, or any audio platform. New episodes drop every Thursday.
What's going on? This is John Olson, and I am the host of Scalarius. Scalarius is your new favorite paranormal and comedy podcast. At Scalarius, we talk to comedians about paranormal experiences they've had while on the road, whether it was in a hotel they were staying in, a bar, club, or theater they were performing in, or maybe it was just a story they were dying to tell. Either way, Scalarius is the podcast that you need to hear. You can find Scalarius anywhere there's podcasts, but specifically right here on Spotify.